In this experience, I was with Gwen, my mother, and we were driving in a car. Often, cars will represent attitudes, and should we happen to be sitting in them, we are very much demonstrating the sitting with and embracing of our attitudes, much as we might find individuals, or indeed ourselves, sitting in our homes on the real side, indicating how we are restricting ourselves to our created selves. Were we to stay in our personal self-houses, or the various attitudes represented by cars, then we are very much enclosed in these created bubbles, and these will be our reality. To become more aware, we must venture forth from the comfort zones and familiarity of the routines we have set up for ourselves, and move beyond the programming we have decided for our personal self, or that which we have agreed to from others. The physical vehicle is just a biological computer of stored information, and we categorize that which we like and dislike, and set the computer self almost on automatic pilot, that it pursues relentlessly that which we desire, that which we are familiar with. For sometimes even dull and uninspiring experiences we will keep effecting for ourselves, purely due to the familiarity of them, such as the automatic slotting into acquiescence to whatever the authority of the day is each lifetime around. For we can find comfort in what is familiar, regardless of the nature of it. To become more aware, we must make the decision to venture into the unknown, to step outside the real side houses and vehicle demonstrated attitudes, or our reality and experiences can only be contained to that which we already know and have decided to limit and restrict ourselves to. Our real awareness oversees all of creation. So a continuing recognition of it will have us gradually becoming aware of the entirety of the simulator our personal self is in, but we must always make the decision to see and be more, to become more aware, and that is through recognition and stepping ever more so into our real awareness. Very often too, on the real side, we will be in vehicles simply for travelling purposes, to suggest we are on journeys and such, as we may find ourselves in cars with the guides, Dwayne, or other new friends, indicating how we are in agreement with the possibilities they are offering or are representing. Hence we are willing to be in the cars with them, trusting of their sincerity of intent. And so it is prudent to pay attention to who we happen to be in the car with, for there is agreement there, of some kind or other, and we certainly don't want to hand the wheel over to a dubious dark controller. In this case, being in the car with Gwen, my mother, there was little need for concern, and besides, all deception is very apparent on the real side. So should we find ourselves in the car with someone who seeks to divert and deceive, even if they are friends and relatives, if we have agreement that allowed this to be so, our real awareness should highlight the intent of the deceptor in our midst, in whatever way it may do so, and we can redact any agreement we have made that allowed the individual in our experience. Anyway, we would look through the windshield and see a huge spacecraft in the skies. It was a great distance from us, but despite that, was still very large in the sky. My estimation was that it was several miles in length. It looked rectangular in shape, as though someone had grabbed a skyscraper building and floated it on its end in the sky, like a gigantic three-dimensional rectangle. It gently floated on by until we lost sight of it. For a time we were driving in pursuit of the mighty craft. The scene would switch, and now we were on a curious island, full of various types of creatures. The immediate consideration would be that they were animals, based on their appearances, but many had the ability to fly and in possession of wings that you generally don't find on the type of animals that they were. There were large cats with wings as an example. Unlike the animals you would encounter on the physical level, these seemed far more sentient and imbued with greater cognitive ability, intelligence, and communication capability. Not just a communication between themselves, but with us also, as Gwen and I were communicating with them, and there seemed no language barrier or difficulty with understanding between them and us. Not verbal communication, however, more telepathic, as we mingled among all these fascinating creatures. So we were very much engaging with the animals, being to being, a communication that was more impressions between us and them, an interaction from positions of real awareness, as opposed to interaction between individuals operating from their personal selves. We are reminded of Dwayne's adventures in a new book 1, where, as Goldie the Indian, he was readily able to communicate with animals, his cat and horse, etc., and yet no verbal exchange was had, and no one else in proximity could hear other than Dwayne and the animal he would be conversing with, for he was connecting with the animals being to being, real awareness to real awareness. For the personal self of the animal would be far too rudimentary and underdeveloped, obviously, to attempt to dialogue with personal self to a personal self on the physical. We must remember that all individuals, despite the body forms they may have, are all animated and overseen by the real awareness of the individual, that is a free being of real light with the true reality of the is now. And so, despite the limitations of the personal created body form self, communication with any individual, despite how they may appear, from animals, insects, to trees, is possible. And as a bonus, you're dealing with personal body forms that are not yet weighed down and immersed in attitudes, assumptions, funny ideas, agendas, considerations, and convictions. So communication, being to being, with the real awareness of an animal would be a very clean and pure interaction, without the baggage of the personal self creeping in and muddying the purity waters. Yes, it is being to being, so it would be an engaging beyond the personal self. But if the individuals communicating being to being are doing so from a position on the physical level, or the real side life is, then the personal self is always there, and can seep in and obscure the clarity of our real awareness activities, if we allow it. And the personal self is a persistent pest, like a fly buzzing around the room. An opportunity is available to speak with universal seer Dwayne the great writer. Create your new session with Dwayne and discuss any topic you like. Examples of discussion include personal, financial, relationships, dreams, government, 5G, GMO, chemtrails, vaccines, HARP, military, secret services, spying, conspiracy, angels, gods, fairies, ghosts, aliens, reptilians, religious, spiritual, monarchy, and anything that pertains to what you are experiencing in this creation bubble. and also the real universes of real freedom. New sessions start at 30 minutes at $1 into PayPal a minute, and can be as much time as needed. Contact me, Kevin Smith, on Facebook and YouTube. An official new presentation club is now available. The New Awareness Club. Membership to which is $1 per month. Find the link below the description of this video for the website newawarenessclub.mystrikingly.com, where you can navigate to the club forum page and join up.